Yes.
Can you tell us about your experience with
Nuts and bolts. Right, so let me see. Right, so I didn't have a lot of contact with that, right? Because I was doing Viva Pinata 2, and that came first in my work schedule. So, and I kind of thought I'd get to nuts and bolts later. I didn't think I'd leave the company at that point. I thought I'd still be there, but I chose to resign right close to that time. So my plan was to do nuts and bolts in its entirety, do all the music and all the sound effects. Because Banjo-Kazooie is all me, all music, all sound effects. I did the whole thing. So I didn't have the time, so I had to get help. So I asked Robin Beeline to help me out and Dave Clinic on music. I had to give the sound effects away to Jamie Hughes and Martin Penny, other guys at Rare, while I was trying to get through Pinata. So I just didn't get there. And very first idea that for nuts and bolts, because when they said we're doing nuts and bolts, we're doing Banjo 3, I was like, oh, fucking great, So it was supposed to be, Tim Stamper said, Mr. Boss said, we're going to do Banjo-Kazooie again as a co-op. So you get Banjo-Kazooie and you can play all together around all the levels. We'll retexture it all, make it look really smart for the Xbox, all that stuff, right? And I was like, So a few of us, I guess senior guys who were on the team from the start, kind of went, we don't really think it's a very good idea, really. And we kind of pointed out that the time it takes to retexture and redo all the levels, you might as well just make some new levels. It's the same time, right? What's the point of doing the old ones? Just make some new ones and do a new game. I went, oh yeah, okay. So that kind of got agreed upon, off they went. And then there's a thing called Havoc, which is the physics engine, which Rare used to always make. Every team had their own engine, which is bizarre. Like every team created their own engine for the game from scratch, which is daft. You should just share an engine for the whole company, but every single team had their own engine, right? It was the way it was done at Rare in those days. Everything was contained. You had blocks. Your key wouldn't get you anywhere else. It was like very, very keep everybody separate. Not because it's nasty, but just to try and make people have different ideas, right? So, lost my track of thought. So it's the first time they bought a physics engine. And the Havoc physics engine had a little demo where you could knock cubes around back in there. And it looked, and that little cubey game was more fun than Banjo Nuts and Bolts was at the start. So we were kind of going, oh. So that's what triggered that kind of let's build things out of blocks. I mean, in a way, like it's a bit like Minecraft. It was a precursor, really. You could make things in Banjo-Kazooie out of blocks way before Minecraft did it, right? So that was the idea. It turned into the racing game and it turned into all that stuff. And I was at that point, I got a bit detached from what was going on. I kind of thought, oh, well, let's see how it goes. So I left Rare in July that year, and the game was out later that year. So I didn't really play it, I don't think, even. I don't think I even played it at all. So I wrote the music, and that was it. And so when it came out, the thing about Nuts and Bolts, right, is I know everybody hates it. But I'll give you an example. My son, right, was probably 8 at the time, whatever. And when we moved to America, when his mates came round, all they wanted to play was Nuts and Bolts. That was the game they wanted to play of all the games he had, because they didn't know about they didn't know about the first 2 games, right? They didn't know what about those at all. They just thought it was great fun building vehicles. They could make submarines and fly planes and let their imagination run wild, and they loved it to death. Absolutely loved it to death, right? I think Microsoft dropped the bollock there. They didn't push it hard enough. I think it could have been good, but I think having Banjo-Kazooie in the game was a bad idea. I think that was bad. People expected, they could have put 2 other characters in there and it could have been all right. I think, but they wanted the name in the game to hopefully sell it, which completely backfired. It didn't sell at all. So I think that was a mistake. But as a game mechanic, it's a good idea and it does work. But I was as down about it as you guys were when it first came along. I really was. But I'd gone by then, So yeah.